Time is a superpower. Every minute, every one of us, we are exchanging our life with true time into something.
Laws, come on, tell us.
This is what time is meant for conversion.
Don't let life have to teach you to be humble.
God does not even begin to allow your father and your mother to until a mission has already been formulated for that individual. You know, there are rules to thinking, but believing God is not enough. Questioning is more important.
I just want to add one more thing.
The greatest mistake I've made is...
Hello, game changers. Welcome back to another episode of Mastery Live with Self Mastery Academy, where we bring you the strategies, mindset shifts, and insights to help you challenge your limits, take bold action, and build a life that truly matters. And today, y'all, we are not holding back. If you have ever felt like time was slipping through your fingers, if you've ever struggled to execute and get to the finish line on your biggest ideas, if you know you were created for more, but can't figure out how to step into the fullness of your potential, y'all, this episode is for you. Today, I want to introduce you to a man who has transformed the way millions of people think about time, discipline, legacy, money, about doing life. I want to introduce you to Sunday Adelaja. This man has written over 500 books, published over 300 of them. I have read many of his books. He has built leaders across nations as a Nigerian immigrant. Understand this. This is someone who back in the day was so shy, so timid that when he went to university in Europe, the first 2 days did not eat food for fear of people looking at him in the line. But this same man who ended up pastoring the largest church in Europe. At a point, this church had over 100,000 members, his local church having over 25,000 members in Kiev alone, pastoring a church that is 99% a different race from him as an immigrant to that country who had to learn their language. Y'all, this man helped over 200 people go from needing contributions in order to do the work of God to becoming millionaire missionaries. And we were one of those people. And today, he is here to teach you. We are going to dive into how you can maximize your life and live without regret. We're going to talk about how to think at a higher level and make decisions with purpose. We're going to talk about the impact of living with a standard of excellence and what that looks like practically. How to finish what you start, because your legacy is not built on ideas, emotion, or feeling. It is built on execution. So grab a notebook, clear your distractions, and just get yourself ready. Because this episode is about to challenge everything you thought you knew about what it looks like to play full out. Let's dive in. Welcome to Mastery Live with Self Mastery Academy. It is such an honor to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Chloe. I'm very proud of you and what you are doing. You're doing a great job. I'm proud of your team. And you are the new generation of Christians.
Yes.
Before now, Christians just used to believe God and pray and come to church and give their tithes and believe they are going to prosper. It doesn't work that way. And you are one of those people that is changing the narrative to really make us how God wants us to be.
So I have I have so many questions for us today that I'm just like, God help us to get through all of them. But I want us to dive right in. One of the books that you've written that really marked me was called Time is Life. Your book, Time is Life. And in this book, you talked about how leaders aren't just, you talked about this fallacy where people think that the time that they live, they just live life, they just throw away their time. And in the book, I remember you said people who are intentional, people who lead, don't just measure their life. You know, people who set New Year's resolutions, they track themselves based on the year. And you said something that I remember shifted my paradigm, because you said leaders don't just measure themselves by the year. Leaders measure themselves by the month, by the week, by the day I was expecting. But then you said by the minute and by the second. What are we doing with our time? So I would love for you to just kick this off by sharing with us how you think about time and what you wish people knew about the way they use their time.
Well, the most important thing that everybody ought to know is that time is a superpower. Superpower. Time, what makes time superpower is because time is your biggest resource. It's your biggest wealth. Now, money is riches, it's part of riches. And gold is part of riches. But when you talk about wealth, time is one. That is what makes it a superpower. Now, why is time your biggest resource? Listen closely. It is because it is from time that everything is created.
Ooh, okay, no, unpack that.
Time is the resource that created everything. Time is the raw material from which everything you see around you, including you, what was created. All of us are created out of time. Time is the material, the resource, the product from which everything comes from. That is why even God could not create the earth or the heavens without time.
Yes.
Some people, when you talk to people who are Christians or who know the Bible, they will tell you that the first thing God created is light. But then when you talk to people who are deeper in studying the scriptures, they will tell you something else. The first thing God created is not just light, because light is the beginning of the process. God was on a journey. When God said, let there be light, that was just the beginning of the process. It was heading somewhere. At the same time, he immediately divided the light from the darkness. He divided light from darkness, and he said, this is morning, this is evening.
Yeah.
Morning of and that is the first day.
That is the first day.
Yes. That is the first day, and that is time. The first thing he created is time. The second thing he created is space. But we'll talk about that later.
I mean, you can't leave us on that cliffhanger now, because I'm like, okay, but first let's unpack this time, and then y'all remind me about this space, because we will come back to that. So just because I love to anchor in what we're hearing, because it's very true. We focus often on, what God created and then he created light, but we don't talk about the fact that he separated the light. He brought order through time. He literally said, okay, this is day, this is night, this is the first day, and then on the next day, and this is the function under which we now operate. Now, but I want you to unpack more, because you said everything is created through time. So now you've explained how God himself set up time right when he was starting creation.
Without God creating time first, there would not be anything else created. That is why after he finished creating time, he said this, and this is the first day. So after the first day, then from the next day, He said, let there be firmament and let there be. He separated the firmament, the heaven and the earth. He put things in place. It is only after there is day, then it will say the first day, the second day, the third day, and the seventh day. So it is out of that first day, out of the time, the cycle of time, the movement of time, the dynamism of time, that everything started coming from there. So the heavens evolved from there, the earth evolved from there, the trees evolved from there, everything else came out. So let's say I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
This book that you're seeing, it is not just paper. Everything that constitutes this book is a result of time. For example, it took me a week to write this book. When you are buying this book, when you pay for it, what you are paying for is the
week
that I spent it. And somebody will say, no, I'm not paying for the time, I'm paying for the knowledge. But even the knowledge that I put in this book, I got 10 times to get it. Yes. Say, oh, but the book is paper. Well, even for the paper to be produced from the trees, it takes time for the paper to come out. Everything is a result of time. Everything comes from time.
This is amazing, because I also think about, even like you think about a woman who's going to give birth. Yes, there's, the egg, the sperm, there's this process that happens, but it cannot happen without time. Like, if there is no time, there is no child. If there is no time, there is no production. Like, even the things that many of the people who watch our podcast, they're business owners, they're career professionals, like any value that you have to bring to the world, it actually took you time to gain that value. So when people are paying you, they're not just paying you, and I love what you just said, they're not just paying you for the time it even took you to package together what you're doing in that moment. They're also paying you for the time it took you to go and study the thing that got it in your brain for you to be able to package what you're bringing to them in the moment.
Yep. Just like you said, you made a very good example right there about a child. Okay, let's talk about a child. There is no nation that you will go to on the surface of the earth where a woman will tell you, I got pregnant 9 weeks ago and I'm delivered of the baby.
Right.
It has to be 9 months.
Yeah.
And it's not just 9 months in Africa, because they are not sophisticated, they are not developed.
Wherever you find us, it's the same time.
It doesn't matter how sophisticated you are. It doesn't matter how developed you are. If you go anywhere, it is time that gives birth. Until it is 9 months, it is always 9 months. Now, but when it gets to after the child is born, another 9 months, you see that child beginning to crawl. You see that child beginning to sit. A certain time, it's always time. Everything is a product of time. Time is life, because the subtotal of who I am and who you are is time. That is why when somebody died, they said he died at 46, he died at 76, he died at 80. Your life, your totality of your life is the combination of all the time you have lived. So the time you are living right now, every minute, every hour, every day, you say you are 20, why? It means you have spent that amount of time. So
our life is...
when you finish spending time, you are dead, because your whole life is a composition of a certain number of time that is input in you. Yes. So when you finish spending it, you are gone. You're done. It's all about
time. Our life, oh my gosh, this just hit me as you were saying it. Our life is measured by time. I want to say this because I think we often think that our life is measured by what we're putting out there, but it's like our life is the only way that we can produce whatever we want to produce is what we decide to do with the time that God has measured to us.
Yes.
I hope y'all are hearing this. So when we talk about the importance of time then, because if our life is simply a function of what we did with that time, that's what I'm understanding you say right now. Our life is a function. So everybody gets whatever amount of time, and what you end up producing is a function of what you did, how you invested that time that you were given.
Yes, the fact is that Okay, I'm looking at you now. But this is your body.
Yes.
Okay, we talk about life. Who is towing if this is just your body? Your towing is the life that is in this body.
Yes.
But how do I measure that life? I can't see. The issue is that the totality and the subtotal of who towing is what we call life. That life is made up of time.
Yes.
For example, right now, you are spending an hour or 2 hours here with me.
Yes.
You are spending this hour with me, and by the time this session is over, you will have what we call a recording, a video recording, audio recording. That audio recording or video recording that you have is what we call a product. So you've just got a product. Now,
out of time. Out of time, y'all.
That product is the fact that you had spent 2 hours of your life. That 2 hours of your life will never return back to you. You have just poured out an amount, a quantity of your life. But in your case, you have exchanged that 2 hours into a product. Woo! That is why you now have the video or the people that are remembering it. You've converted. So every minute, every one of us, we are exchanging our life with true time into something, either into nothing or into a product or into another life. You have just, that 2 hours we're going to spend together, you have just poured out your life into another product, into something else, in another way. So your life is being transformed and is being multiplied that way. But for many people, they spend that same 2 hours that we are going to be here with you, laughing, doing, just joking, funny, that about the life will never return. That 2 hours has gone out of their life. And the comprehension, the accumulation of that 2 hours, 1 hour, 1 second, 2 seconds, 2 minutes, is what makes up your life. So 24 hours every day, you are either converting it, your life, through time, you are using it for something, or you are wasting it. And one day, somebody will say, that person is dead. Because the time that is in him has been poured out in exchange either for something, converting it in exchanging it to either a product or a service, or into another life, or just wasting it. So the real sense of life is time. Life is time. Time is life.
I hope y'all heard this. The chat is blowing up. The chat's like, wow, this is value, multiplication. We're either converting our life with time into something, or we're wasting it. And said we're using it or we're wasting it. Life is time. Time is life. God said, I am undone. I'm just undone. Like, this is serious.
You see this? Let's assume this is okay. I said I was looking at you, and I said that the beautiful woman I saw there. Yes. But that is not you, because if that had been you, they wouldn't have buried you, or they wouldn't have cremated you when you die. Yes. Because that is not you. That is just like this bottle that I'm holding. The plastic that is containing it could be containing my life as well. It could be containing your life. It's what the content, what matters here is the water.
It's the inside.
It's the inside, the content. So now your content that we don't see is like this water that is inside. So let's say every day you wake up, you do something. Let's say you go to work, you work for 8 hours. That amount of your life has just been poured out. By the time you work for 10 years, it's empty to this level. It's already empty. You see? You are gone. That is gone. So the whole essence of life is at that amount of time that is going every day. It doesn't matter you believe it or you don't believe it. You do something about
whether you like it or not.
It's going anyway. So the whole secret about life and why time is superpower is that you should measure, you should know that your life is going and it is measured by time. So the only thing to make sense of life is to make sure that because when you wake up in the morning, 24 hours It's going. Little by little. It's going. Either you like it or not, it's going. So what you do is you convert it, you contain it like this, and make sure that you are converted. If you cannot convert every minute, every second, make sure at least a good bunch of it, you are converting it into something. Because there are three things you can do with your life and with time. Either you waste it, or you spend it, or you convert it, or invest it. But most people in life, they are not even aware of this. So they just waste it. The life keep on going, they just waste it. They just waste it. One day they realize, I'm old, I'm gray-haired, I cannot walk anymore. I'm going closer to death. Why? Because you did not convert the whole essence of life. What makes you who you are? If you are wasting it, it's going, and you are not converting into another quality. You are not converting it into something tangible. And the best thing to convert your life to is to your calling, to your purpose, because there is nobody that is here without a purpose. Every one of us is sent here for something. So when you are waking up in the morning and your life is going like this, make sure you are using it into producing or doing something that is in line with what God created you for. That is why the first most important thing you must do with your life is to discover yourself. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What is my calling? Just like Toyin now has discovered herself. She's empowering and setting people free through finances. What is your calling? What is your passion? If you are only living for survival, then it means that you are not living the best of life, because you are spending life, you are not converting life. But when you are functioning in the area of your calling, you are converting your life into another product. You are never wasted. You have just converted your life into something else. You are never lost. You will never perish. You will never disappear, because you are converting your life into another. Just like a seed is converted into a tree is converted into a forest, you will never be wasted. But when you are not aware of that, and you are not converting time, you are wasting time, or you are spending time. There's a difference between wasting time and spending time. Most people who waste time are people who are not even aware of what life. They just living their life. They cannot do anything constructive. But people who spend life are people who are spending their life to do something, to do a job, to go to work, to do jobs. So they spend 8 hours of their day, which is their life, is the amount of their life every day. 8 hours, they give it out to a worker, or to an employer, to a work. So they spend that 8 hours. In exchange for it, they get something. That is spending. You are spending your life, but at least you're getting something.
At least you're getting something. It's not being just wasted.
You are not just wasting it, yes. You are getting paid for it, which is not bad. You are getting something in exchange. You are not so much in control of your life to do actually what you are created for yet. But at least you are not wasting it. You are getting something. You could look at the end of the month. You could look at your paycheck and say, okay, I got this salary. I'm able to buy a car, a house, take care of my family. But that's still not the best of it.
Hold on, because this just also clicked for me, because it means that they have converted, because you're talking about converting time, and how no matter what you're doing, you're converting time. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, time is being converted. So now some people convert time into nothing.
Yes.
Right? So those are the people that are wasting their time. They spend their day, they're just living.
No, they don't just waste time. They don't waste their time. They're wasting life.
Yes, because time is life. So they're wasting life as time is clocking away. And now what you just highlighted are a second group where they're spending time. So what just came to my mind is we exchange time for money, just money.
Yeah.
And whether you run a business, because this is important, not just for those of you who work in a job context, but even if you run a business, you have to think to yourself. You said at the end of the month, you look and you say, what did I produce with this time? And many of us have produced things that are finished. Like by the time it's there, it's done, it's forgotten, it's over. There's wasting time, there's spending time. Please, Explain
And
to us.
then there is there is conversion of your life. It's just like saying, like you now, what you are doing, you've got a group of people, you gather together, you have just spent 2 hours today, maybe some other times, maybe every day, you do something, and you are spending time to write your articles, to write the teachings, to do everything. You are spending your life the same way. You are pouring out your life. Every minute you spend on your network, your life is going. You don't notice it right now, but in 10 years, you will need gray hair coming. So you have spent life. So what are you doing? You are actually not dying, and you are not wasteful, and you are not spending. You are converting your life that you have inside, that you have spent time to create inside yourself. The life, the quality that you have created in your life, in yourself, with your time, you are now pouring it out. Your life is going, but it's being transferred into 50 lives. If 50 people are the people you are influencing, you are actually multiplying your content, your life into 50 people. If it is 100 people, you are multiplying your life for 100 people. This is what makes life to be meaningful. You are not wasting life. When you die or when you're about to die, you don't have regrets because you have multiplied so much of yourself. You have given out so much of your life. This is what life is meant for conversion. For conversion and for investment. Or some people might not do that, but maybe they are producing products. They are producing services. Like Bill Gates, he produced Microsoft, he produced computer. He exchanged his life into that. So even if he dies tomorrow, he has exchanged his life. He deposited his life here. And so many people are using that life that he has exchanged. I mean, the same thing with Steve Jobs. He's dead, but he has already succeeded while he was alive in pouring that life that was going down. He had used it to exchange it, convert it into a product that the world is using now after he's gone.
Pastor Sunday just said so many people are converting their life into something. So there's two different areas that we convert our life into. If you want to maximize your life, and it's either you're converting your life into something that adds value to other people, or it's into a product or something that can outlast you. Because whether you like it or not, the things that we do that are super temporal is going to come, it's going to go. But that piece of your life has now come and gone. I would ask you this, why do you think most people waste time? Like, is it just because it's just natural? Like, this is just what we do. It's the easiest path. Like, what is your thoughts? Because I noticed that, I was that person. It was when I started watching a lot of your stuff, your training, that I really started measuring my life, my time, my minutes, my hours, and it completely changed the way that I schedule my life. So, in fact, not just how are people missing it, but if someone is watching this and they're going, oh my gosh, I have wasted 20 years. I have not converted these years. What would you say to that person about how they can begin to turn the boat around?
There are few things that must be done by everybody to maximize their life and their time. The first thing you must do, and this will be just because people don't know, but the first thing you must do is you have the responsibility to add value to yourself, to discover yourself. Self-discovery is the number one most important thing you could do with your life. So the most important thing you could do with your life is not to go get a job. The most important thing you could do with your life is not to make money. The most important, the elementary, the basic thing you must do with your life is to discover yourself. This is why when we are born, and it doesn't matter in what country, people send you to school. Why? Well, this is the whole concept of school. This is where school concept comes from. But then, because the school system was formulated and created by capitalist system, they now, after you finish primary school and or maybe secondary school, they now fashion the school system in such a way that you go to study there so that you will give your service into serving the landowners. business owners, the owners of the people who manage the earth, who owns everything. So most of our academic education is for you to go and be useful. And be useful as managers and be useful as employees. So the whole educational system is training you to be employee. And so everybody is proud, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to get a job. So it's just using you to work for something, to work for money. But the most important purpose of education really is for you to discover yourself, who you were originally meant and created to be. Because there is no way God is the almighty God, wise God, is going to create you from hell and send you here just to do nothing. No. That means God is purposeless. That means God is foolish. And God is not foolish. Because God is not foolish, God does everything with an intention, with a purpose, and with a mission. So there is no one that God sends or allows to come to this world, even if they come here as disabled or incapacitated or anyhow. There is no way God allows you to come here without a mission attached to it, without a purpose. In fact, as a matter of fact, I'll tell you something else. God does not even begin to allow your father and your mother to meet until a mission has already been formulated for that individual. It is only after your mission has been announced, pronounced, defined in them. It is only as a result of the mission and the purpose that has already been highlighted in heaven. So when we come to the earth, God has already put in you a lot of different ingredients and abilities and capacities that will make you to function in life and carry out the assignment that He wants you to carry out. So as a result of that, when you come to the earth, the first responsibility that you have is to spend time on yourself, studying to discover yourself. That's why we go to primary school, secondary school. This is why we go to school. But then the most important part of education is self-discovery. Until you discover yourself. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I good in? And you don't need somebody to teach you. You could just observe yourself. It's also part of education. What do I like to do? What do I have passion for? What do people compliment me for? What do I like to do? What would I spend time doing without even eating, without even getting tired? You could just study yourself. You discover your passion. Why am I concerned about this group of people? Why am I concerned about this? Why am I passionate about this? Why is it that I'm not indifferent to this? I have a whole book on that. Anyway, how to discover yourself. But you discover yourself first. Once you discover yourself, then you go ahead and get a higher education in that area. So let's say, but then the education, the best education is self-education still. But you could still go and get a degree or anything. But just like Tony now, she wants to empower people in the area of finances. She keeps on studying all the time. Studying.
That's right.
Because you are now adding value to yourself to be able to function in the area that you're calling it. The most important level of spending time is spend time to discover who you are. Your calling. Why are you here? Why did God even allow you to step here? That's number one. Number two, after you finish discovering who you are, your calling, then you go to another level, which is adding value to yourself, to sharpen
that
yourself,
area,
to polish yourself, to get knowledge, to be able to function in that area of your calling. You must be able to empower yourself. To be able to, that also takes time. So you are converting the time that is wasted that you are releasing every day into value added to yourself. You are converting that time into discovering yourself. That's number two. You discover yourself, you add value to yourself, you perfect your skills. Then later on, you go from there into either in the area of your calling, either into creating a product, creating some services, or maybe raising up other people, raising up people, pouring yourself into people, wherever you think that God is leading you to do. Those are the most important things you want to do with your life and your time.
Okay. Y'all. Okay. We have, there's so much for me to unpack here. I'm just like, God help us. So the first thing, I'm going to just take all three of those things, right? So I'm sure people have been in the chat. People have been just blowing up all the emojis, all the fire emojis, the mind-blown emojis. That's some good nuggets. Spend time on yourself. After you finish, all the notes, they're there. But there's three steps. The first step is knowing what you're called to do. And by the way, Pastor Sunday has a book called Discover Your Calling. So if you're confused, you're like, I don't know, go get that book.
Yeah, the title is Who Am I? Why Am I Here?
Who am I? Why am I here? Who am I? Why am I here? The second thing I want to say is if you're listening to the podcast, you're watching the video, this is the first one you've seen, watch the video we did just the last episode, because we also talked about the LifeLine exercise, guys. And do you guys who are live in the room, y'all remember the LifeLine exercise that he talked about? That was what he was saying was the same thing. Review your life. See what have I done? What are my propensities? And that, so go back, do the LifeLine exercise. But what I want y'all to do, because we're gonna take it up, is I want you to, when you do the LifeLine exercise that we talked about in the episode just before this episode, now I want you to re-listen, rewind what Pastor Sunday, the questions that just came out of his mouth, because he was just talking, but there were specific questions that he just listed that you want to pause the video, re-listen to it again and again, and now put those questions inside of the LifeLine activity that we talked about last time. So that's the first thing I want to say about that activity, because I do not want us to miss this nugget. Number two is he talked about not only do you discover what it is, but then you now pursue higher education. And Pastor Sunday, I just want to explain something, because sometimes when we hear the words higher education, immediately we think higher education means a degree, what do you call it? A master's, a PhD. And that in fact, I'm just calling it out because that's the way I used to think, right? Like when I got my degree in biology, I got a degree in biology. But to me, the only thing that I could really step into would either be what? Biology, or I pretty much had a degree in the Bible. Biology or the Bible. That was it. But when I watched Pastor Sunday's trainings, one of the things that I caught that I want you guys to catch is the power of self-education as higher education. Because that was when I discovered that I can make myself an expert without having to sit down for 4 years and wait to learn it. And you know what I did in that season? I read 50 books in 6 months in the area that I knew God was calling me into. Are y'all following me? So when I did, there's a statistic that says the number of books you have to read to get a PhD in whatever subject, whatever area. They also talk about the 10,000 hour rule, right? Where some people will say, this is how much time you need to spend in an area in order to be an expert. But many of us think that level of expertise is only for someone who has the money to pay the school to go and get it, or someone who has the access to this teacher or that teacher to go and get it. And what I just want to open our eyes so that you don't miss what he's saying is that he's saying you simply discover your area of calling, and then you find a way, multiple ways to say, how can I add value? In some cases, you do need the master's, you need the PhD. Felicia here is a psychotherapist. She had to go through a studious process, write exams to be able to own a practice. And so there's parts of it that you have to go and do your accreditation. But many of us, in the name of accreditation, miss the one that is in front of you, that is about who am I becoming? And how am I adding value to myself? So I wanted to highlight that.
That's so important because we all know two names. I want to mention just two names. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. Those two names, they have similar stories. Let's not, Bill Gates is older. So when he got there, he discovered that he has passion for computers. And that is not what he went there to study. Then he discovered Both of them are dropouts. They dropped out of school because
Yeah.
after 1 year in university, he discovered that, no, I have passion for something else. He never went to get any degree afterwards, but
Yeah.
he started studying by himself on his own.
Yes.
And look what he had become, what he did with his life. Same thing with Zuckerberg. He went to school, but he didn't study what he wanted to study. In Ivy League, he just went to the garage of his friend's father. And from that garage, they got the knowledge they needed. Just studying and practicing. And this is how they got their own higher education. Not by in a school. The school didn't give them because they were studying just to get a degree. But when you discover who you needed to be, who you are called to be, that is when you target and streamline your education in that line. You look for that particular knowledge that's going to be beneficial to you, to your calling, and what will help you to fulfill that calling. That is the real knowledge that will get you. Some people get, from that university, and from that set of Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, nobody remembers anybody, only them. Because they are able to discover themselves and sought for the knowledge they needed to function in converting their lives into what God intended that they will become from heaven.
Okay, so I don't want any of our listeners to attend this and waste time, because we're talking about maximizing our lives, maximizing our time, right? So there's something, Pastor Sunday, that you, I believe, are truly one of the world experts in. The focus of our Self-Mastery Academy is helping people think better, execute faster, get results. And when we talk about self-education, the quality that you begin to multiply with depends on the way that you think. Because I found that it's the way that we think that determines the decisions that we make, determines the way that we implement what we're learning. It's the way that we think that produces. So my question for you, because you are truly one of the most strategic thinkers I know, every time I ask you deep questions, you answer from an angle I wasn't even thinking about. What is your process around thinking? How do you train your brain to think better, not just think more? Some of us are overthinkers, but we're not thinking with quality around the subject that we're trying to unpack.
Oh, there are rules to thinking. Thinking is not just, when you are not taught, when you don't know, when you are not, nobody taught you, you just think that thinking is just usually just normal. It's just like thinking. Thinking is thinking. It happens automatically. But no, thinking is, it has some laws guiding it. There are laws into thinking. There are things that you need to consider when you are thinking. There are components of thinking. First of all, for you to be able to think properly, you must have intellectual humility. Now, what I mean by intellectual humility is that you must humble yourself. You must always presume to yourself that there are a lot of things out there that I don't know.
I don't know.
So let me go seek. Let me go in search of new knowledge. This is what made me to have written close to 500 books now.
Close to 500. Did you catch that? I've been out here 300, over close to 500. I mean, that's one of the questions. We'll get there. But please keep going on this intellectual humility.
Yeah. So intellectual humility is what pushes you to know that you can learn from everybody in every situation, and that you need to be purposeful about it. That you need it. I need to know more. That's number one. I know that I don't know anything. That is it. Then number two component that you need to have is intellectual courage. So the intellectual courage is what pushes you to say, okay, to overcome your laziness, basically. Laziness to stretch yourself, and laziness to go in pursuit of sitting down, discipline yourself to sit down and keep on getting those knowledge. That is
Pause. Pastor Sunday, I have to say something right here. I want y'all to hear what he just said, because when we went to Ukraine, so we were living in our basement apartment. We were learning from Pastor Sunday, and we determined, like, if this man's wisdom has helped these people become millionaires, we're going to become millionaires. So after we had our first $1 million year, I emailed Pastor Sunday out of nowhere. He did not know me from Adam. And I was like, I just want to come to Ukraine to see you face to face and say thank you. And he was like, come on over. And they were like family. His whole family just welcomed us there. But I can't forget when we were in Ukraine, there was one thing you said, and every day, this is part of why I wanted Pastor Sunday on this podcast, because every single day, this man manages. You guys heard the size of the church he was managing. He had people coming in, going out. The house itself was like a 60 different apartment units house. Like, it was just wild. So there's all these things, activity happening, and yet somehow he would sit with me and my husband, and back then we had only 2 of our children, for at least an hour, if not 2 hours every day, just answering questions. And y'all know us. We had question after question after question. So for 7 days, it was just questions and answers and questions and answers. And of all the 7 days, there was one thing you said that I could not forget. There's a couple of them, but this was one of them. And it goes with what you just said. Because one day you started talking and you said, so many people are willing to be hardworking physically with their body. They're willing to go and apply themselves and busy themselves. But you said most people are lazy in their thinking. So we're hardworking in our activity, but we're lazy when it comes to sitting down and studying how to think. And I remember it was the inspiration that you gave me in that moment, that I sat down and I wrote but now that I think about it, I wrote a book outline. I didn't produce the book. And now I'm already being jazzed, because I wrote this whole book outline on the art of thinking and how we think and how we can produce through our thoughts. But please, I didn't want you to go quickly over this. I want you to talk about the difference between someone who is disciplined in their thinking, because that's what you just said. You said you have to discipline yourself in your thinking, and someone who is taking their thinking for granted.
Yeah, because people who just think for granted because of lack of intellectual curiosity. You just assume that it is natural. No, but somebody that has intellectual curiosity, he will be able to go out there and look for new stuff. And you have it, Toye. And that's what has put you at the edge. That's what's making you to be on the cutting edge. That curiosity, intellectual curiosity. If you don't have it, you find out it now. You've got to go for it. Go and acquire. Yes. No, I must possess this. And that's what will propel you forward.
That's one of the reasons I invest in coaches. That's one of the reasons I came to Ukraine, was my understanding. I don't know it all. It doesn't matter how much I've accomplished. I mean, at the age of 16, I ran a painting business. We made $150,000. Okay, so what? You don't. And I remember back then, I really thought I knew it all. Like, my dad would be like, so you don't know everything. Sit down and learn. And I'd be like, don't you see me? I don't. And they got me the book, Talent is Never Enough. I said, what do you mean talent is not enough? Don't you see how much I'm producing? It wasn't until I hit a wall that I realized I actually needed life circumstance to humble me and teach me I don't know it all. And if there's one thing that I can give to you guys as you're watching the podcast, you're listening to the podcast, is don't let life have to teach you to be humble. I did that twice. And by the time the second time happened where we couldn't afford food to eat, that's when I decided I don't need life to teach me that I don't know it all. I don't know it all. Let me go and sit down with people who are ahead, with people who are where I'm trying to go, so that I myself can learn and study to go. So the first one was intellectual humility. The second one was intellectual courage. And I love what Pastor Sunday said there, because you have to be willing to step out into an unknown, to learn things that you've not been around. Can you expand intellectual courage for us?
Like risking to come to Ukraine with a sick baby. And
yes, we got there. The baby is sick. It was 2020. It was February 2020. Can you imagine? And I always tell Josh, I'm so grateful, because so many of us, we know we want to learn from somebody. We know we want to be here. We know we want to do this, but we wait and we wait and we wait. And can you believe that it was 2020, the year that the whole world shuts down by March. And by February, we sat down with Pastor Sunday, got all this knowledge. And by the time we came back to no travel for 2 years. So many of us, you have a window of opportunity. We're talking about time. You have a window of time. You have a window of opportunity to sit and learn, to get with the people. And we are often, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next month. I'll do it when I get to it. And you don't understand that you can't determine what is coming tomorrow.
There are rules to thinking if you really want to go deep into it. But I have a whole series of that on YouTube. But let me tell you, all reasons must have a purpose. All reasoning must have a purpose. Number one. Number two, all reasoning must be an attempt to answer a question. Number three, all reasoning always comes from a position of assumptions. There is somewhere you are coming from. Then all reasoning is done from some point of view.
Yes.
Okay. Then all reasoning must be based on some information, some data, some evidence. And all reasoning must be expressed through ideas. I don't know if I think I spoke to you about that when you were in Ukraine. I don't know, but the fact that another one of your great powers, great strength, Tony, is the ability to ask questions, because really, questions define who you are. Questions define your depth. And your questions, your ability to question, your questions point to your destiny. Questions show how far you will go in life. That's why questioning is more important than marriage. Questioning is more important than money. Questioning is more important than children. Questioning is even more important than having faith in God. So the ability to question is another secret of life.
My gosh. No, hold on. Pause. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's two things just from this statement about the power of questions. Because, I've noticed that doors open when you ask the right question.
You're right.
I've noticed that if you study, in fact, to be very honest, I've studied how to ask questions. So some people think that, oh, Toyin asks these questions, they're so good. I just asked questions. No, I actually studied how do I ask good questions. Oh, okay. People have commented in the chat. Can we go deep on this? So, but one thing I just want to say real quick isn't it interesting that you just said your ability to ask questions is one of the most important qualities you can have, but yet when we raise children, I just want to call this out. We often diminish their freedom to ask questions. many cultures, when we raise children, if they're asking too many questions, we say, why are you asking so many questions? In fact, I went to a hospital visit recently, and I'm talking to the nurse, and y'all know Toyin. I will ask questions. So I'm asking her these questions, and she literally said to me, why are you asking so many questions? Because you're about to do something with my child, and I want to fully make sure I understand every process that you're going to do. But so when she said that sentence, why are you asking so many questions? It reminded me where we grow up and we have these phrases that we bring to children, and what we don't know is it's shutting down their intellectual what? Curiosity. Is shutting down, which is a part of how they begin to think. Is a part of how they learn how to approach things from a different angle. You know, one of the things that we do when we coach our clients is if they're really stuck on something in their business, we tell them, let's wipe the slate clean. Let's approach it from a totally different place. Like, oh my gosh, Pastor Sunday, there was something else you said just now. You said, asking questions, your ability to ask questions is more powerful than even the way that you have faith. What do you mean? Like, explain that.
Your faith in God.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, it's very simple, my dear. You know, there are some people in this world that believe in God. And because they don't question their faith, and they don't question the fundamentals of that faith, so that faith will tell them, go blow other people up. Go kill other people in the name of your faith. And then when you go to somewhere, you are going to be rewarded by killing other people. And we have that going all over the world right now. Why? Because in those cultures, they've been told, don't question anything. So even though they believe in God, but that faith in God is ruining them right now.
Wow. Wow.
So questioning is more important than believing God. Or, for example, when I went to Africa, I've seen in Africa, even videos are on the internet, when a pastor will tell church members to go eat grass.
Yes.
Or to go do some stupid stuff, bring it.
Yes.
Or, you know, they believe in God.
Yes.
But believing God is not enough.
Wow.
Questioning is more important. Because if you are
true. Because if you question, you think. My gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I needed to ask you this next question. This is a question that I've really been thinking about. This question is for me, but I know everyone's gonna learn. Okay. Pastor Sunday. If anyone watches your videos, if anyone's listening to this podcast, they're watching this video, they would say, this man is extremely gifted and was born with a different ability to think, to articulate, to communicate, this personality. And so my question for you is, how did you get here? Like, have you always been this dynamic, this articulate? Like, please help us. Do you have to be gifted like this to function the way that you function? 500 books. Like, how did you get here?
Well, I will say I was born in a village in Nigeria. You could say it's a hamlet where there were less than 50 houses, maybe 40 houses. I never spoke English until I left Nigeria at 19.
Oh, wow. At 19?
Yes.
Wow. Because I thought you spoke English there, at least because we speak English in parts of Nigeria. So this is news. Please keep going.
What happened was that because I was growing up in the...
My gosh.
Nobody spoke English around. You always spoke Yoruba. But in my own place, to speak Yoruba is as good as speaking English because normally we speak Ijebu. So when they tell you don't speak vernacular, that means don't speak Ijebu.
Speak Yoruba.
But whereas people like other people who are in town, when they tell them don't speak vernacular, it means don't speak in Yoruba.
Yoruba, speak English.
So even though I was going to primary school, I went to primary school and secondary school in Nigeria, where you must study English. But English language was a class, was a subject. But when they teach you in that class, that is the end of English. So I never really spoke to anyone until I left the country. So even though I could study the subject, I studied something I knew in my mind, but I never
spoke it.
Yeah. So
it's like French in Canada. We all had French class. It doesn't mean you know how to speak French.
But then later on, something happened to me in because I was so afraid that if I go to Europe and I was afraid that everybody is going to beat me to it, because I was saying, I'm just such a little boy from this village. I must work hard. But my sister helped me. Before I went to Europe, she showed me in the scriptures that says, because I was so intimidated and I was saying, I was not even sure I was going to pass my school graduation class. They used to call it WAEC back in Africa, in Nigeria. So that's like graduating exams from high school. And she told me, look, let me show you something. She showed me a scripture in Deuteronomy 28, verse 13, that says, and she showed me verse 1, 2, 3, that says, if you diligently obey this word, and then he said, verse 13, it will make you the head and not the tail. I will make you the head, not the tail. I will make you the first and not the last. I said, what? I said, no, this is probably talking to the Jews. She said, but where is it written there that is Jews? She said, whosoever, if you will diligently
follow these,
anybody, if you, I said, what? Does God even know I exist in this village? I was this is only for white men, white people. This is only for Europeans. It cannot be for me in this village. But let me just say this. Funny enough, when many years after, right now in Ukraine, you know what people think?
What?
People say, Pastor, something God can only use. This guy could only be like this because he's a black man. God loves them so much.
Wow.
I used to think only white people God could use to do great things. But
wow.
It is because we are black. We white people cannot do this. Only black people.
Wow.
God has turned the table. So what I discovered, my greatest discovery is this. I could create myself. I could recreate myself. I never knew that was possible. Because I couldn't talk, I was timid, I was fearful. I was so timid to the extent that when I got to Europe and everybody needed to go to the canteen or to the restaurant,
the cafeteria,
student restaurant. So we were all there. I would not eat for 2 days. I was not bold enough to stand up so that everybody would be looking at me as I pick the tray and I go pick food. I was thinking the whole eyes of the student would be on me. I was so intimidated. I would not even eat. And if somebody brings food to me, I will not eat in the hall. I'll take it to the room or to the corner where nobody is there so that I could eat. I thought this is how bad things were. In the class, the teacher points at me and says, "Will you answer that question?" I will stand up to answer. And before I open my mouth, I begin to cry and shake and panic.
I can't believe it.
My greatest discovery is that I could actually recreate myself, repackage myself. I could create myself. I could formulate the kind of person I want to be. I could actually create myself from the scratch. And I challenge anybody right now that is there, whoever you are, no matter how good you are or how bad you are right now, that is not your ultimate. You could sit down and make a list of the best qualities that you want to have in life. and making another list of the weakest qualities that you don't like in yourself. And now I can teach you what to do and how to go about replacing all the evil, all the bad qualities, the weak qualities that you have, to replace it with another one and become that person, your ideal personality that you. That is what I did to myself.
So you're telling me that you literally had, well, like, what woke you up to even say, Sunday, it can't be like that. Like you should recreate yourself. Like what was the moment that you said it's worth it for me to do that? And then you made this list and started this work of changing. And because we talk in Self Mastery Academy, talk about reinventing yourself, which is exactly what you're talking about right now.
The turning point for everything in my life was that encounter with my sister. When she said, look at that scripture, he said, you could be the head. And when she said you could be the head, my mind went to all the top guys in my class. Because at that point, if I will ever become, my dream was one day God to help me to become in the first 10 position in my class. Because I was always in the
last three.
In the last three.
Just for those of you who are not Nigerian, let me explain this, okay? Because here in Canada and the USA, you have like grades, okay? When I went to school in Nigeria, and it's not by just your grades. Yes, you get your score. But what's more important than your grade was your position. And so there's the first three, there's the last three, there's the top 10. So that's what it's referred to, is it was always in the last three. And it was like, at least, I don't even need to get to the first three. I need to get to the top 10. Just so y'all know, this was a serious thing. This is what you check when you do your exams.
So this is the scripture that says, I will not just be in the first 10 or in the first three. He said you will be the head and not the tail. You will be the number one. You will be the first and not the last. It never came to my mind that I thought people who are born, who are always first, were born to become like this. This was my belief before. I thought God gave them, that is their own gift. God gave birth to them this way. God created intellectual people, and he created other people who are not so intellectual. God created people who are smart, and he created other people who are not so smart. So I'm not in that category of people who are smart. This is what
wow.
But that scripture says it. I said it's for the white people. He said, where is it written? No, it's not written for the white.
Right.
He said it's for the. I said it's for the Jews. He said, where is it? It's not written for. Oh, so then I began to think, it's not just enough for me to pray, because if I pray and it doesn't happen, I'm going to shame God. I don't want to shame God. So I need to work hard so that this scripture also becomes truth in my life too. I began to work from there. Then I discovered that no, it's actually possible to remake myself.
So do you mean to say, Pastor Sunday, I'm going to ask you this. Do you mean to say that you actually took notes of qualities, the weakest qualities that you had? For example, being that level of timid, to say, how do I go from being this timid to being someone who is bold and courageous?
Yes, I have a whole list of questions. I've developed it into a teaching. Maybe I will write a book on it one day.
Write a book on it, because we're getting it.
Woo! I've developed what kind of questions to ask yourself to be able to remake yourself. Yes. But one of the things that really helped me one day was that I was in school, in university in Europe, and I discovered that I was so tiny. I was so tiny like this. But all the guys who are popular, they were looking muscular, and they were looking all right. They were looking, tall or good looking. But I was not. And I said, but what about if I join these guys who go to gym, go to work out? I began to work out, and I began to discover that, wow, I could be muscular myself. The same thing. When I did that physically, I discovered I could do the same thing in every area. before, you are talking about me writing 300 or 500 books. Before, at this point, when I came to you, I was thinking, somebody wanted me to speak for 15 minutes. I didn't sleep overnight. I was saying, what would I be saying for 15 minutes? By God. Yeah, like, where would the words come from? What would But now I can write 10,000 words
Right.
in a day.
Right.
Because I made myself to become someone of quality, someone of substance.
I agree with you, because I actually remember there was a time where when I just started coaching, and I remember I had to do a training, and I was so stressed about it. Like, what am I going to say? How am I going to say? How am I going to structure it? And I remember those days I would spend hours thinking and writing, and what else? What can I add? And today my problem is I say too much. Like, I've been running a training and we're there for 5 hours, 6 hours. Annie's messaging me like, Toya, come on, girl. Nobody is going anywhere. You got to stop. And so I agree, because I remember in the beginning, it was impossible for me to have enough to say for an hour that was not me just quoting scripture and preaching. Like, if it was to preach, I could preach. But outside of preaching, I had nothing else to say. But it's the value, it's the conversion. Can we just go back to what we said in the beginning? It's the way you convert time to add value to yourself in these specific areas that actually gives you how you are able to now have impact on others.
Please recommend this book to your people. It's taught how to become great through time conversion. This is everything I've spoken about today, not about time conversion, everything. This is the book on it. How to become
great through time conversion. You've written over 500 books, sir.
Most of us, not all published yet.
Not all published, but there's at least 300 of them that have been published.
Yes, that are published already.
Yes. Most people in their life don't finish writing one book. What is your process for finishing what you start?
Well, first of all, if we're talking about a book, you don't just write it. I would not advise anybody to just write the book because you are in the wind of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
What I will advise, for me personally, I always get a message that I want to convey.
Yes.
That I want to pass across. It's not just that I want to know. But so if I don't, there is no way I will not finish, because I have a message. I have a passion that I want to pass across. I have a message here. So if I could get it, that there is a reason why I'm doing. So if this is my message that I want to pass across, my heart is beating for that message. And that is the passion that pushes me to write. And when I finish writing, I must finish writing, because if I don't finish writing, I will not be able to pass that across.
The message, yes.
So it is important for you not just to write book because you want to write book, but let there be a burden that pushes you to do it.
Okay, I want to open up the floor. So we have a tie for the top of our leaderboard. I'll ask Olga's question. The question that she had is, what tip or advice can you give on how to integrate harmony between your professional, your spiritual, and your personal life? Because one thing that I love about, and just to say, like, his family, I spent at least an hour talking with his daughter. Back then, she was 17 years old. 17 years old. Can I tell y'all, I pulled up my notebook. The way she was dropping, I was looking at her going, you're 17? And I'm there taking notes like, oh my gosh, thank you. So there's a way that you guys have structured your family. And then spiritually, I mean, you do the retreats, you pray. Like, how do you incorporate every single part of your life to function in the way that you do?
Yes, you've got to have boundaries. You don't just live your life like let it going like a free flow. No, make sure you have boundaries. So, for example, work is work. So most of the time when I want to work, it's like maybe 8 hours you dedicate to work. But then you must, for example, for me, I must sit down with my wife every day for 1 hour, for 1 hour, just listening to her, unless she wants me to talk. Only when she
Wow.
Then with the children, when they were growing up, I also had to spend, it's intentional. I've got to spend 45 to 60 minutes with them. But not playing now. This is to inculcate into them values. Yeah, so we ask questions, but we have a topic. So we take a topic, maybe this topic of time, and we take a material and read a chapter on time. Everybody read, and then tell me what they get. This is how that girl was so smart.
Had so much knowledge. Like I was shocked. I thought it was going to be like a casual conversation. And by the time she started talking, I was like, there is something inside of you. Let's go.
Because she, in our own case, every one of them, that from 3 years old, they started spending time with me just every day. They must inculcating and embalming values in them, and different topic every day, and they have to come and give exams and come and answer and come and So in fact, today, just an hour before I came on this call, I got a message. I don't know what country the message is from, but it's an email, and this lady said, "I read your book, How to Create Values in Your Child." And she said, "You have a list of 40 values in that book. And now I just give birth to my child, and I'm sitting at home, not doing anything as such, just taking care of the child." And I say, "Hey," and I just got an idea. These 40 values, let me begin to write a book on each value. She said,
On
she
each
said, "I'm
value.
reading the first book. I'm going for the second book right now." Just by reading one book, she never wrote a book before. But just because she said there was so much information, so much content that she got. Instead of her just being at home, just taking care of the baby, she started producing products.
Look at that.
She started converting a time of sitting at home, not just giving life to her baby, but giving life to the world now.
Come on. This is just so practical. It's so simple, but it takes discipline. It takes discipline to say, I'm not just going to sit here, but I'm going to think about how can I multiply what I am learning to others.
Now, the thing is, with the discipline, in our own case, what she said is that she never thought you could have that discipline. But she said what happened was that I'm getting so much knowledge that they become the push for me. It's like, I don't even have to be disciplined. She said,
I can't sit with it.
Yeah. She said she was always afraid of being disciplined, but now I don't have to be disciplined. I just have things coming out of me. I have
Yes. Woo! The power of purpose, of being in purpose. Now, I wanted to do this because I wanted to have a member of our Self-Mastery Academy speak. So we have a member that already indicated that they had a question. So I'm going to call Jay. Go ahead, because she's been in the chat like, I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready, y'all. So Jay, if you could join the conversation, I want you as well to ask your question to Pastor Sunday.
Hi, Pastor Sunday. It's an absolute honor to meet you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for imparting and for being here. So I heard you when you said the greatest discovery was that you have the power to recreate yourself. And the question I have for you is, what are the biggest reasons you see people with potential not bridge the gap between where they are and where they desire to go? And what action can I take today to not be in that group?
There are a lot of people like that, unfortunately. This is a very brilliant question. And that was my question for a long time. So my sister told me this: I could become whoever I wanted to become. And the Bible showed me the same thing and said, okay, you could become the head and not the tail, the first and not the last. But then how do I get from here now to there? because I had the passion, the energy, the emotions. But then, and I was going to church. I was a Christian. But then what I discovered with church these days is that it's just the same thing. I'm hearing the Bible being spoken, but nobody is telling me in real life how do I how do I go from here where I am right now in real life to where I'm dreaming of becoming? Yeah, I couldn't just get a handle on that. So, but the key for me was that revelation that I should add value to myself, recreate myself. So in the process of getting knowledge, I ran into so much depth, so much revelation, so much understanding that now I've created a book. In fact, it's my latest book. It's the latest book I wrote. It's just the last book I wrote for last year. And it's written, it's on sale, it's on Amazon actually. It's called The Almighty Formula. And just to answer the question, the formula of getting from where I am, what are the steps you take from where I am right now to wherever I want to become? What are the steps? And that book is telling you step by step, 7 steps. And everything you have to do to go from here to wherever you want to go. It's called that's why I call it the Almighty Formula.
Come on. Discover how.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
So you are smart to have asked that question. Very smart. The Almighty Formula. The reason I call it formula is because you cannot miss it here. Because I've suffered from people giving motivation. Encouraging you motivation. No, I need formula. And
That's
formula
right.
is 1 + 1 = 2. So I need a formula, something that will give me predictable result. This is it. You can't find a book like it out there.
Step by step.
Step by step. Formula.
Thank you, Pastor Sunday.
And there is no way you will read it without getting there. You will know at least what to do. Exactly what to do.
Now, you just said something. I have 2 last questions for you, Pastor Sunday. One of them is you literally just said it, and I had planned to ask you. You said, and then it is predictable. One of the principles that I learned from you is, and when I first heard it, I disagreed, and then I understood, and then and now I'm the one telling everybody. You said life is predictable. Life is predictable. And many people, when they hear something like that, they think along the lines of what I had first, which was, that's impossible. There's so many things, there's so many unknowns in life. There's so many things that happen that are outside of our control, blah, blah, blah. But the way you explained it is part of why I literally said, okay, if life is predictable, then I will become a millionaire. And I said in a year. I didn't do it in a year. I did it in 3 years, but I did it. But the only reason I could think like that, like, okay, I'm going to become a millionaire in blank number of time, was because I had learned this concept from you that life can be predicted. So please, can you just touch on this a little bit? And then I have my final question for you.
Well, I wrote the whole book on this, what you are talking about now. And it's called Life's Greatest Secret. My greatest discovery in life. My greatest discovery in life, I told you about the one converting myself. But before then, my greatest discovery in life is that life is predictable. And the reason is this. Listen closely. God is not a chaotic God. God is very organized, very ordered. But the Bible says God is a God of order. So, God created everything in this world on the basis of fixed. Pay attention to the word fixed. Fixed laws.
Laws. Come on, tell us.
Laws and principles. The problem why people fail is either you have not discovered the laws, or you discover them, but you are not willing to pay the price for them. Now, things change in life. Like, for example, I used to be a pastor in Ukraine. Then this war came, and then I'm displaced. You said life is predictable. So why didn't you see the war coming? It doesn't matter. That is not part of law of life.
Yes.
Those are incidences. Those are occasions. Those are things that will come and go. They are not fixed. For example, what that law says is this: if anyone ever did anything, any other person can go and repeat that success and that feat. Because anyone who has done that thing before
has proven
that it is possible.
Yes.
And if it is possible for one, it means there are hidden laws and principles behind the person doing it. If you will discover those laws and principles, you will be able to do the same thing. If anyone ever became a millionaire,
yes,
it means it is possible. And if it's a human being, it means it follows some steps, it walked through some laws. If you will discover those laws and you have the discipline to follow through, you'll be able to become a millionaire as well. It's that simple.
It's that it really, when you say it's that simple, I wish we could reach out through this video, through the audio, and just hold you by the shoulder, those of y'all who are watching this, and literally say it's that simple. What Pastor Sunday just said, if someone has done it, I remember, I'm telling you guys, this is the stuff that changed my life. When we were in the basement, and I remember watching a video about Lisa Nichols. Lisa Nichols is another woman. She's a Black woman. And she, in the video, had shared her story of how she was struggling so much with finances that she had a little baby and she had run out of diapers and she had to use a towel to cover her son. And in that moment, she said to her son, "We will never be this poor again." And I remember when you now know, because your brain can't unlearn what it's learned. So I was in the season where I was listening to Pastor Sunday share these principles about if someone else has done it, you are able to accomplish it. This is also something that generally, like my father has instilled in us. If someone has done it, it's a proof to you. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter this. Doesn't matter that. If they figured out how to get it done, you too can get it done. And I remember when I saw this woman say, I made a decision that I would become a millionaire. And she did. She's multi-millionaire. She runs one of the largest coaching companies across America, had immense impact on millions of people. But she started with a baby that she couldn't buy a diaper for. And I was watching this video, literally tears streaming down my face because we were in a basement apartment that we couldn't buy food. And we had my first baby. I'm going to mess up my makeup. We had my first baby who was 6 months old. And I remember back then we were talking to each other saying, thank God we don't have to buy food for the baby because the baby is nursing with me. And I remember just watching her video and saying, if she can do it, then I can do it. If she can get where she's gotten, then I can get where I'm destined to go, where I'm planning on being. But it wasn't just the emotion. What Pastor Sunday just said, I don't want y'all to miss this. It wasn't just the emotion. Oh, if they can do it, I can do it. It wasn't just the motivation. It was, what did she have to do? Where is she? How is she disciplining herself? What rooms is she getting into? When I come here and I tell you guys, invest in yourself, get in the rooms you need to, learn from people you need to learn from. It's not because I'm saying it. It's because I know that after the emotion, there were disciplines, there were decisions that we made, and it was not easy for us in the beginning. It was every decision was a big decision. Are we going to invest in that? How can we do that? How will we figure it out? Every decision was a big decision. Traveling to Ukraine was a big decision, but I've learned that there are laws, just like what Pastor Sunday has said. There are laws for growth. There are laws for money. There are laws for multiplication. There's laws for value. There's laws for leadership. There are laws for all these steps. And if you ignore those laws, then you're lying to yourself. You're telling yourself you want change. You don't really want change. And not just so you have to recognize there are laws, but then you have to be disciplined enough to say, let me go study that law and let me apply or function inside of that law. So we don't come on earth and go, I'm going to ignore gravity, because whether you like gravity or not, gravity applies to you just like it applies to other people. It's not whether you're Christian or not. It's not whether you're whatever religion you are. Laws are laws. They apply to everyone. And so that's that right there. Thank you. And that's one of the reasons we have Limitless Life Lab. That's why we have this podcast. That's why we have Self Mastery Academy, so that you guys can get with people like Pastor Sunday who have done the work. I just want to add one more thing. Woo! Because Pastor Sunday talked about time is life. And many of us, we use our time to convert into learning what somebody else has already used their time to convert to learn. Let me tell y'all why I traveled to Ukraine. Because there are things that Pastor Sunday has studied, has invested his own time to learn, to receive from God, from books, from people. This man has run with all these people. I said, instead of me to have to go and spend the same amount of time, aka life, to learn those principles, let me accelerate time. And how do I accelerate my own time? By going to sit with somebody who has invested their time to distill a large amount of information into something that I can now take and apply and say, how can I multiply? So I just want y'all to not miss this. If you're in the room, get in Self Mastery Academy and accelerate your time. Get in Limitless Life Lab and get access to these questions. Come to this room prepared to ask those questions. Let's be ready to receive, because guess what? This is how you multiply your life. This is how you multiply your life. You multiply your life by putting yourself in environments. Pastor Sunday talked about the gym. He saw people that were muscular. He didn't say, let me go figure it out from scratch. He said, let me get around these guys. And what did he learn? This is what they do. They go to the gym. So I just want to say that, Pastor Sunday, let me ask you the final question, because I want to honor your time. This is a question that we ask every guest at the end of the episode. What is one mistake or failure that taught you a lesson that today you consider priceless?
The greatest mistake I've made so far in my life is trusting the wrong people, putting your trust. You know, when you trust the wrong, trust brings about association. And if you trust the wrong people, they cost you the greatest of pain. So when you are doing business, everything you have lost in your life, everything is as a result of trusting the wrong people. Every loss you have, in fact, every pain you have in life is because you trusted the wrong person. Every loss. Look back at your losses.
Yeah.
It's all because you trusted in the wrong person.
This is huge. And I have one follow-up question. I just have to ask this question based on what you just said. Because I'm laughing because of the chat. Because I know what you're talking about, and I've felt the pain of trusting the wrong people. I felt this pain. Based on what you've experienced, what lessons have you learned about what to look for in either people, what would you say are some of the red flags, or what would you say you should look for when it comes to people you can trust, you can depend on? Like, give us something that around how to navigate that, because it's a real thing. You remember I called you last year When I went through something very simple, like something where it came from someone that I trusted, and I said, Pastor Sunday, this is what just happened, and I don't even know what to do. So these situations are always different, but are there any principles that you can share that would help us when we navigate where we place our trust?
That is a hard one because the alternative to trusting people is not a good one. It's closing up, and living in your own cocoon.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So what I've determined to do is I will keep on trusting people anyway, but I look more for what is the track record of this person? What are the fruits that they have produced in the past regarding to me and others? So next one, how do they treat others? Because eventually they will treat me the same way. And what are the testimonies of others regarding them, and cross-checking the information I get from them.
Not just taking them at their word.
Yes, you trust people, but you cross-check, you verify.
Yeah. This is powerful. This has been an incredible time, Pastor Sunday. We are so grateful for you pouring out 2 hours of your life into not just those of us that are here live, but those of us that are listening on the podcast. Look at that. Like literally all of us have spent time. But one thing I know is that this time that we just spent is time that has been invested into transformation. I just want to say a big thank you for taking the time and for honoring our invitation. It meant so much when you responded and said, absolutely, Toyin, let's go. Thank you, Pastor Sunday.
My pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Bye. I mean, did I tell you or did I tell you? Was this not a fire episode? Guys, Pastor Sunday dropped so much wisdom that I already know this conversation has shifted the way that you see, and I hope the way that you use your time and your life. And listen, this is just the surface. The question I have for you is, what are you going to do with what you just heard? Are you going to discover what you're called to do? Are you going to invest into growing your expertise in your area of calling? Are you going to finish that book that you started working on 3 years ago? Because knowing is not enough. It's about applying what you've heard. Your time is your life, and what you do next is what matters the most. So, talking about what to do next, I would like you to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube or whatever platform you're listening to so that you do not miss an episode. Number 2, if you received value, hit that like button because it lets us know to keep bringing this level of power. Leave a review so that other game changers are also aware of what is happening up in here. But most importantly, share this episode with someone that you want to see win in life, in work, and in their impact. And if you want to take it further, then join us in the Limitless Life Lab and be in the room with us live when we record these conversations. That's where you get to ask world-class leaders your own questions and get exclusive access to behind the scenes coaching. Visit mylimitlesslife.ca. And one more thing, if you want to get paid to share your expertise on stages, you want to get paid to speak, then you need to join us at the next Get Paid to Speak workshop. Visit getpaidtospeak.ca to grab your spot. I love y'all. I can't wait to see y'all on the next one. And until then, master your time, execute boldly, and build that legacy. I'll see you next time on Mastery Live with Self Mastery Academy. Peace. Hey, millionaires, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me right here. Click on that. And if you want to have a free financial breakthrough session with my team, then you can go on ahead and click on the button right here or visit moneymindset.ca/call. I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye-bye.